I've already checked with all of you. You're all doing well this afternoon, are you not? I know Jawi is fine. Vusani, how are you doing?
I'm good. Just excited to hear you talk.
Thank you very much and welcome, Beauty. Right on time. How are you doing this afternoon? Beauty. And I see Masocha is also logged on.
Hello,
Hello.
how are you?
Good, and you?
I'm good. Just super excited.
Yeah, we are just about to get this show on the road. Afternoon, Busi.
Hey, good afternoon. Oh my goodness, my connection was giving me problems, but I finally figured out I'm not using my computer. So I am so glad we are here. Well done. You're looking so pretty there.
Thank you very much. I've given a couple of people some time to join me, but I think, in the interest of respecting the time of those who are early, let us get this show on the road.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much. And I will just make sure that I'm muting. If there's noises, don't worry about that. But I've also made you to be a co-host just in case there's something you want to do that side, you can be able to do it. But other than that, oh, well done. We are really, really looking forward to learning with you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Coach. And good afternoon to all of you who have logged on this afternoon. It is such a privilege and an honor to launch this coaching platform with you. And it's a good moment for me because you are witnessing the birth of this great healing space. I believe that you all know me, but allow me to introduce myself to you anew. My name is Tusani Murauzi. Most of you know me as an international relations practitioner, and I'm also launching out as a coach, and particularly as a transformational coach and a healer as well. And I am a lover of all things natural, as most of you would know. And a particular thing that really it gets me going is the love of mountains and all spaces that are natural. And welcome to the launch of this coaching space. And I thought we should take some time this afternoon to talk about rock bottom, what rock bottom looks like, and how we can use the transformational coaching space to deal with issues of rock bottom. So for me personally, when I look at the issue of rock bottom, I'm looking at an issue where a person would have reached the absolute bottom. This is where you have hit the absolute, it's like the pit. And when you are at rock bottom, it cannot get worse than that. It is like the absolute bottomest of the bottom. I will share with you what that looked like for me personally. And let me give you an example of where this phrase rock bottom comes from. So, rock bottom was first used, in the 19th century when people used to engage in mining. So, they would say if a company is mining and they hit rock bottom, they cannot go further than that. So, you cannot move any other way. And so, yeah, what did rock bottom look like for me, or what does rock bottom feel like? I think for any normal human being, when you hit rock bottom, personally, because a rock bottom is where you feel absolutely
recording in progress,
desperate, you feel absolutely desolate. It's a place where you feel broken, and it's also a place where you feel like it's either you can find your will to live or you're not going to make it if you don't get that will to live again. And for me, rock bottom, that was the place where I found my wings to start again and start afresh again. And in order to be able to start afresh again, you need to be able to create a new reality for yourself. And so rock bottom, when we look at it from a transformational point of view, that is where you use rock bottom as it's a catalyst for change. It changes you for the next level. So it's either rock bottom can kill you or it can make you, essentially. And I think if we were to be honest, all of us, when you're living in life, a whole lot of things are going to happen. And as life is happening to us, we're not going to be in total control of what happens to us. Life throws us with all sorts of curveballs. And when we're faced with all these curveballs, this is where we hit rock bottom. And it's either we stand up, we shake the dust off from ourselves, or we die in that space that is called rock bottom. And rock bottom also it shows us whether we are very, what's the word that I'm gonna look for? It's like, have you ever seen a boxer in the ring when he's bobbing around trying to avoid a fist, even if he gets fisted and he lands on the ground? That landing on the ground for him is going to be that rock bottom, and how he gets up quick enough, dusting himself, cleaning the blood off his face. That is what we're going to say this is a person who is got a champion mentality. So what did rock bottom look like for me personally as Thusani? Rock bottom for me was a series of events that happened one after another after another. So it first started when I signed my divorce papers. I had this beautiful, beautiful wedding. I had a lovely, well, it looked lovely from the onset, a marriage that it degenerated into rock bottom very quickly. I was weighing 147 kilograms also in weight when I was busy with that rock bottom moment. And I was also in debt to the tune of 1.5 million. I was surrounded by debt. The marriage is falling apart. My health and weight are just plummeting out of control. And also my relationship with my mother and father and siblings and friends, it was in total shambles because I was struggling with my issues of life. I was at the very bottom of everything. And at that place, when I was also experiencing this rock bottom, my relationship with God was highly questionable. I was not going through a state where I could easily meditate or pray or spend some time in the Word of God because I was operating from a point of crisis at any given time. And at that point, while I was busy with that rock bottom situation, I needed very strong wine and cigarettes just in order to be able to get to sleep every night or to be able to be functional. And it was a true state of affairs. And for me, because I had reached that point where everything was falling apart in such a public manner, I could not even hide it anymore. All of these things were unfolding in all of the spaces that I was operating in. So it was spilling over into my spiritual space. It was spilling over into my career space. It was spilling over into my social space. It was also spilling over into self, how I relate with self, because I could not see myself. I was at rock bottom. I either had to sink or swim. I was either going to make it or I was going to be buried. And at that point, I realized that I needed to live. I had a son. If I needed to deal with the debris that was surrounding me as my life, I needed to be able to do something. And I don't know whether to say it's fortunate or unfortunately for me at that stage. I did not have a person who could hold my hand and walk the transformational journey with me. I had to lead myself on that process, and that process was basically a process of trial and error. I made so many mistakes in the process of trying to claw my way out of this pit, this dark pit that was facing me. When I decided to walk on the weight loss journey, I remember the first day I started losing weight. I could only manage 12 steps. And I prayed and I said, "Dear God, please help me." And walking through that process of trial and error, what do you eat? What do you drink? How do you sleep? How do you deal with stress in your life? I had to try and fail forward in that transformational journey. Walking the road to Damascus spiritually by myself, fasting for 40 days, crying out, going through this journey where I was healing, crying out, not knowing that I'm processing pain. Pain is demanding to be processed out of my brain, out of my heart, out of my body, out of my psyche. And only learning later that was the transformation that was going through me as a human being. Trial and error, nobody to speak to these issues that I was facing. Having to go on this journey where I repaired the relationship with my mom, my dad, my siblings, my friends, because when I was busy with all of this confusion, this mess that was playing out in my life, the relationships were falling apart. But having to go back and to say, if I'm going to transform and move forward, how do I repair these relationships? I had to learn to do that all by myself. And in that space, in that journey, transformational journey where I was fasting and communicating with God and communicating with my psyche and my spirit for the 40 days, where I'm just crying also nonstop, having to learn to navigate and to utilize silence as a tool as well. Having to learn to navigate the natural spaces out there as a healing tool as well, without anybody having to tell me. And this is where I wish there had been somebody who could speak to this journey so that I didn't have to feel so lonely. And for me, how this is all culminating in this journey, this very afternoon, it is to say, the very same way where I walked alone, lonely, trial and error, feeling like a mad person, feeling like I don't belong even if I'm sitting in a boardroom full of people, feeling like I don't belong even though I'm sitting in a church space, feeling like I don't belong even though I'm sitting in a function at home when there are people. I wish that there had been somebody who could talk to all those various pieces of me that were falling apart, to give way to the death of the old Tusani. Tusani was no longer a wife. She was no longer Mrs. Somebody. Tusani, eventually, as I walked this journey, my mother also ends up passing away. So that was also another piece of me that died. And having to go through a process where the family fell apart and having to rebuild a new family for myself and my siblings, that were all just pieces of me dying. And I was having to reconfigure all of these pieces. Some of them, they were dead and gone and buried forever. And some pieces, one or two, They came back and they helped me to form a new person. And so for me, really, it is to say, in launching this space, rock bottom doesn't have to be as horrible for all the people that are having to go through point zero and to start again and to reconfigure a whole new person for themselves. So rock bottom, if you're going through a crisis which is rock bottom and you don't know how to navigate it, this is to say, this transformational and coaching space, it's available to help to sort out the debris and the pieces of what that rock bottom could look like. Because rock bottom, if truth be told, it's a death. It can be a psychological death, it can be a spiritual death, it can be a financial death, it can be a death of you in the terms of how society sees you. And what this space really affords is to say there are other interventions that are available apart from the psychiatric interventions or the other church interventions, but it's to say there are safe spaces, and this space, it is one such space where we evaluate what crisis a person or an organization can be going through, and we look at the various tools that we can utilize as interventions, methods to be able to not only to address the pain and to address all the pieces, but also to look at the alternative solutions that are available in order for us to forge a new and a better, a faster, a powerful person that is lying in the folds of everything that you and I and everybody could be going through. So why transformational coaching, or why coaching with Thusani specifically? Coaching with me, it's a space where you're going to get a chance to learn to reinvent yourself. I love reinvention because personally I have reinvented myself so many times. Is there such a thing as perfection while you transform, or while you heal, or while you become a better person? I don't believe so. There is no such a thing as perfection. Who I was yesterday, who you were yesterday, is not who you are today. And it's definitely not going to be who you are going to be tomorrow. So as you reinvent yourself, you find that some spaces no longer work for you. You do away with those spaces. You will find that some pieces of you that you thought were fundamental in who you need to be, they are just no longer gelling, and they are not going to make you a bigger and a better and a faster Vusani in the future. We learn in this transformational space to question all those transformational blocks, all those healing blocks, all those blocks that are going to make you a bigger and a better person. And we learn to look at these blocks without judgment. We do not bring preconceived ideas in terms of who you can be as you transform. We look at all of these things objectively, and we look at the alternatives that can work for you as you move forward. We learn to let go of the things that don't really work for you as you reinvent yourself. We learn to do the inner work. We learn to look at the things that we keep hidden in ourselves, the things that we would not even like our families to know, the things that we would not like our partners and other people to know. We learn to look at these things objectively. We put them on the table. We account for them as best as we can without judgment. And we deal with the difficult topics without judging. Because if we do not learn to deal with these difficult things and with honesty, It means as we move forward, as we reinvent ourselves, we can be reinventing ourselves on top of lies. And that is not a good idea at all. And also, this space, how it helps. It helps us to find strategies to become more resilient. Life, as we live life, we spoke about it earlier. Issues of a crisis, you can never ever make room for a crisis because you never ever know when a crisis is going to hit. It doesn't tell you that, Coco, I'm going to visit you tomorrow. My name is Crisis. We can never ever make a provision for that moment when we're going to get a divorce. We can never ever make provision for when a mother is going to die. We can never ever make provision for when a company is going to go bankrupt. We can never ever make provision for a rape. However, we can learn to deal with all these crises, these issues, these moments that change us as human beings. We can learn to become stronger people, to become people who are more resilient when we deal with issues that are crises, but issues that are also causing us to question maybe who we can be. So in this space, we learn to look at mechanisms and building blocks that can help us to deal with obstacles that comes our way. And by the way, all of these mechanisms and building blocks that help us to deal with these issues, they are found inside of us. So whatever it is that Bongi can use as tools, which are internally inside of her, it's not going to be the same things that are available to Vusani or to Ito. There is no one size fits all. Whatever mechanisms are sitting inside of you as a person that will help you to transform or that will help you to deal with a crisis, it's different from what will help Tusani. So we just need to spend a bit of time as we coach, as we heal, as we reflect, as we meditate, to find the best instruments that are going to help us as we rebuild our life, as we move forward. And another exciting thing about this space on why it's critical to utilize this coaching and healing space. This space also helps us as human beings to step outside our comfort zones. There's a session, that I have prepared. That session, it's for intervention for face-to-face. And I normally like to do it in small groups. As we go through life, we tend to forget the dreams that we arrived with when we arrived here on earth. Some of us wanted to write books, some of us wanted to travel the world as speakers, some of us are great performers, some of us are great dancers. Whatever it is that was put inside of us to help us to be better people or to help us to help other people. As we go through life, as we go through crisis, as we go through the things that crop up that we may mostly not prepare about, we get into a space of a comfort zone. We wake up, we do what we're doing, 9 to 7, 24 to 7, and we forget about the bigger and the better things. The song that is now playing out in our head is, I was brought to this earth to be a mother. I was brought to this earth to be a sister. But what about that thing that we were actually born for? We forget this thing in the hustle and the bustle of everyday life. So this coaching space, while we will be dealing with all these things that could be thorns in our flesh, we then look at why are we in a comfort zone? Apart from the crisis that could have happened, this thing that was sent maybe to destabilize us. Why am I in this comfort zone? What is this thing that I have always wanted to do, but I am too scared to try because of all of these other things that are crises to me? We look at those issues. We look at our big dreams. We look at why we are even in this comfort zone. What is bringing us to this point of a comfort zone? And how can we step out of this comfort zone? It means we learn to challenge ourselves as we sit and we engage in these sessions. And as we challenge ourselves in these comfort zones, we stretch ourselves. We look at the new dreams that we can dream, and we look at approaches that we can engage in dealing with our dreams. Is it ever worth it to challenge our comfort zone? I believe so. It's a story for another day. I'll be happy to share with you on what happened to me one day when I started questioning my comfort zone and what got me to the comfort zone and how to get out of it. I love, one of my all-time favorite things. I love the graveyard, and I love dark spaces, and I love the night. And you know why I love dark spaces? The graveyard is very quiet. It's dark. That is where death has occurred. Nothing is growing there except that decay is taking place. I think I alluded to the fact that we need to study the darkness. And when we study those things inside of us that are dark, those are very powerful things. We learn to make friends with the dark spaces inside ourselves. I think I mentioned that one of the dark moments in my life was when my mother died. It was a make or a break moment completely. It definitely served as one of my worst moments. If I did not lose my faith then, if I became bigger and stronger, it meant that I could face so many other things. So as we sit in this transformational space, we're going to look at the darkness that a person has survived. What is this darkness that you've been through? It may have been sent to kill you. It may have been sent to finish you. It may have been sent to come and destroy your life course. But how do we turn it around? How do we utilize that darkness to make Mashudu bigger and better and faster in life? We look at the things that has kept you going. What is that blueprint? What is that DNA that has made you survive that? How can we replicate that as you move forward to utilize it as food and fuel for the next chapter, for the next part of your journey? And as we study that darkness just a little bit, and as we become friends with it in this transformational space, we also learn to count the things that we are grateful for. How does it make us better people? Now, what kind of modalities do we use in this space? I may have touched on them a little bit. In this space, we use one-on-one sessions. That is the first thing that we use. We also use group sessions. And we also use daily sessions for targeted groups. But they are personalized packages that we put together. So a package can be for an individual, a package can be for a group, a package can be for corporate or a company space. And like I indicated also earlier, there is no one size fits all. And whatever arrives at this transformational space that is requiring of engagement, we look at it on a case by case basis. And there are so many interventions that can be utilized to deal with healing, with transformation as well. And there is also a YouTube channel which I utilize to address certain topics. And I'm soon going to be using different segments, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I'm not going to upload material every single day. I will upload material as and when I am led. And I also have a page. It's a new page. I've had it for a while, but I've not utilized it. I am also going to be engaging on that page so that I'm able to segment Tusani, the persona that you find on Facebook, and Tusani that you will find on a page. And then there's also sessions that, I'm going to host on LinkedIn as well. And some of those are also going to be real time. So you just need to be on the lookout. And then I will eventually also create a WhatsApp group as well to engage. And also going forward, when I feel led, I will also be hosting Zoom sessions. But I think in a nutshell, that is Tusani Munauzi, the transformational coach, the healer, the lover of everything natural. And I thank you so much to see all of you here coming to witness the birth of this baby. I am so honored. And now I'd like to hand over to my coach, Busisi Lesho.
Oh, Tiffany, thank you so much. Oh my goodness, this is a very because I mean probably all my life I've listened to so many of what I can no longer count. They're just way too many. And I remember, the first one that I remember thinking, and then thinking what they started on the stage, and I realized that I've disclosed everything. I'm going into life with nothing. I mean, my mother passed, and I just survived the fire where everything was burnt down. My books, my school uniform. I had to borrow people's uniform for like 3 months. Wearing people's shoes that were big. I mean, that felt like, what the hell is going on? And that was it. And after that, I had so many I cannot count. But what you said is that every time we hit a rock bottom, it's just the beginning of another level. And that is so comforting because true. I mean, even when I hit the one where I just put it, after that, it was a level up, a truly good level up. And I mean, just today listening to you, I've just realized that every other rock bottom that I've hit brought me way more than I cried for during the rock bottom. And of course, at that rock bottom, we feel like we're losing. I actually not really so thank you so much for sharing with us this. Because most times we are, I mean, a lot of people which I've tried to stop doing in my life also, a lot of people are just living like trying to not hit rock bottom. So actually, rock bottom is the gift. So if you're living a life trying to not have the gift, you are missing out on great stuff. Because you just like, I don't want the gift, I don't want the gift, I don't want the gift. I'm sitting here, I'm just this job I hate because I'm trying not to hit rock bottom. I'm here just, in this relationship that is not okay. all the parts that this has happened, I grew and I became better from so many people, not just people myself. Thank you so much for sharing with us. Thank you so much for opening at this space for